recently asked on Twitter, how do you manage your background processes that your Rails app depends on while you're using it in development on your local machine? And several suggested using the Foreman gem. And that's what I want to show you here how to use in this episode. For example, this is a situation I was dealing with where I have a Rails app. In order to use it fully in development, I would need to start up a number of background processes, such as the Beanstalk daemon. Let's start that up. And I also have a worker script, so we can start that one up as well. And I also have another background process, which is the Fay server. So I'll start that one up as well. And I've done episodes on these various tools in the past as well. But the point is, I have to start up all of these background processes just to use my application in development. It would be a lot nicer if there was something simpler that I could use to start all of these up and manage them. And for that, that's where Foreman comes in. So the first step is to install the gem with gem install Foreman. Now Foreman uses what's called a proc file, so just create one at the root of your project here. Now inside of here, you need to list out the various processes that you want Foreman to manage, but you also need to give each one a name. For example, let's call the first one here Beanstalk, and then we follow the name by a colon, and then we just specify the command that we want to actually run. In this case, we want to run the Beanstalk daemon command. And we also want a worker process, and that can run the script worker command. And finally, we also want the Fay process, which will run the Fay rackup command that I showed you earlier. Once you're done writing that proc file, you can check that as valid by using the Foreman check command. Running that, you can see that it looks like our proc file is valid. So now with that proc file complete, you can simply run the Foreman start command and check that out. Now each of the processes is running. Each one has their own separate process ID, but they're all managed by Foreman, and they're all started with a simple Foreman start command. And you can see all of their output nicely displayed right here in the terminal. And hitting Control-C here will stop all of them as well. It's so much nicer than managing them all separately. Now Foreman includes a nice man page documenting all of the options you can pass to it. Let me show you some of them here. If you just want to start up one process, you can pass that name in directly, such as Foreman start. Maybe just specify the Fay server, and it will only start up that Fay server. You can also specify how many of each process you want to start up using the C flag. For example, let's say we wanted to start up 4 workers instead of just 1, which is the default. We can just pass in 4 like this, and it will start up 4 of those processes. Now Foreman also has an export command, and this is great for exporting your list of processes into something that you can use in production. It currently supports the init tab and upstart formats. So for example, if we run Foreman export upstart and then choose the current directory, just as an example, it will output all these upstart configuration files into the current directory here. And we could take a look at one of them here just to see what it looks like. And you can see, basically, it's just going to execute that given command and handle all the logging and everything for us. Really nice to have this feature. And that's it for this episode on Foreman. This episode's on the shorter side because Foreman really is that simple. It's a simple solution, but for a specific problem, and I find it does the job quite well. And maybe you will too. If you ever find yourself having to start up a lot of background processes in development just to get your Rails app into a working state, definitely consider using Foreman.